Type 2 already. Before been in Castex duration. You have to be as deluded as on Mars to think that we can Terra be part and leave this planet Ruiz, and the ways that he was born and raised on South Africa in 1971. His South African father and Canadian mother showed fascination with technology. At the age of 10, he learned to program on his own. At the age of 2, he sold his first Tomb Raids. He programmed a space game called Blast, which he sold for $500, like most of the geniuses who have passed through the world, and he was an introverted child. This caused him problems at school. He did not do well at all. He admitted that he suffered abuse from his classmates after graduating from Pretoria Boys High School. He left home at the age of 17 without the support of his parents, and partly due to compulsory service in the South African Army. He said, "I have nothing against serving in the army itself, but serve in the South African Army to repress black people didn't seem like a good way to spend my time." Your parents divorced shortly after. He went to live with his mother in Canada to study physics and economics. But really what he wanted most was to get to the United States. So he emigrated to this country in 1992. His father told him that he would not pay for his college unless he was in South Africa, but he still obtained a scholarship to study business administration and physics at the University of Pennsylvania to be able to support himself financially. And he and his partner had parties at his house on the weekends, charging an entrance fee of $5 to complete his second degree in physics in 1995. What he wanted most was to work per Netscape, went to his offices, but did not dare to talk to anyone because of his shyness. He enrolled in the doctoral program in applied physics and materials science at Stanford University. But he had a brilliant idea and realized that the internet was the future, and that companies should be present there. So if he risked 2 days, he abandoned the classes to found IFU, together with his brother and a friend, managed the development, hosting and maintenance of websites, worked all day, slept on a couch in the office which had no bathroom, so he showered in the bathroom of a gym that was nearby. They first worked for some local companies, then specifically for media companies, and Lon was the executive director. They managed almost 200 websites. YouTube was sold to Compaq Computer in 1999 for $307 million, leaving Elo with a fortune of $22 million. In an interview, he said, "If other people work 40-hour weeks, you work 100, and you will achieve in 4 months what takes others a year. I had the opportunity to retire, buy an island or some nice place, but that did not interest me in the slightest." And he detected that bank transfers were slow and took a long time to complete. So that same year I took a gigantic step that would set a precedent for online payments. I founded a financial services and payments company, X.com. Via email? It was an online bank, making it easier for the user to transfer money with a high level of security. I knew that if they wanted to prosper and not be swallowed up by large companies, they should ally themselves. A year later, they merged with Infinity, thus giving birth to the service company. Largest internet financial institution that has ever existed in 2001, it changed its name as we now know it as PayPal. In the first 5 weeks, I'd exceeded 100,000 clients. Several regulatory agencies, such as in companies such as Bay and Visa, tried to close PayPal in October 2002. If acquired PayPal for $1.5 billion, so with the sale and Lomos that earned $165 million, she said, "I was able to buy a chain of Islands, but again, that did not interest me in the least. Since I was a child, I had always called time everything I had to with the universe. I had always thought that there are different ways in which the planet can be destroyed. The human being continues and will continue to evolve over time. But nuclear weapons in the last 60 years have made the possibility of extinct us a reality themselves without removing the possibility of the impact of an asteroid, climate changes, and viruses that can also destroy the human race. He saw the colonization of other planets as a step in the evolution of the human being, so he became immersed in the idea of the possibility that Mars could march. Oasis conceptualized an ambitious project that would allow a miniature experimental greenhouse to be sent to Mars. But for this great feat, he needed a rocket. So he went to Russia with the intention of buying one from good price. They practically laughed in his face and dismissed his request. Then with the right relationships, he was able to get a quote, $8 million for a rocket, of which all the parts would be lost in a single flight, was not an acceptable price for him. But after taking a look at these Russian rockets, he realized that it was old technology. He came back with an idea that he could create a company that would build the rockets he needed, producing about 85% of the necessary parts themselves. So in the 2002 founded Space Dollars and invested them in the creation of this company that, calculating everything he had earned up to this date, was a fairly large sum of his capital. In 2004, he realized that there is a small company called Tesla Motors, which was having problems in designing an electric car and being able to sell it, and he saw it as a business opportunity, and, even more so, helping to alleviate global warming a little by developing electric cars. He joined Tesla Motors as the largest investor, and one of the leaders planned to spend $25 million before the first delivery, and they ended up spending $140 million. This caused the company to go into debt up to its neck, and to make matters worse, the U.S. economy collapsed. Everything pointed to this being going to disappear in the future. 2008, they were close to bankruptcy when neither of the products of both companies worked, and they were short of money. He said, "I could choose between SpaceX or Tesla or split the money. I had left between them. It was a difficult decision whether to split the money. Maybe they would leave both. If I allocated the money to a single company, the possibility of its survival would be greater, but that would mean the certain closure of the other. He had run out of money. He began to look for financing because his companies were losing $4 million a month. Sergey Brin put up $500,000. A group of Tesla employees signed checks to keep the company afloat. The brother from Moscow invested the little he had left because he lost almost everything in the recession after several ideas and turns and carrying out a few rounds of debt instead of capital, and he barely had any left, a few $100,000, and he couldn't have paid the next month's salaries in the midst of all this chaos. He was also going through a complicated divorce with his first wife. With all this, he said, "You have many doubts that your life is not working, your care is not working. Does your rocket work? Take off, you're in the middle of a divorce," and all those things made me feel like crap. I didn't think I was going to get over it. I thought I was lost. I think Moscow to try to save Tesla is appointed, yes, and today, and he manages to take over 100% of the company. When they said that it was impossible for the company to stay afloat, no one believed in his strategy. They told him that he was crazy, that it was impossible for it to work. The strategy was to bring the Tesla Roadster to the market as quickly as possible, the first electric sports car, and such a high price that only wealthier people could buy it and use the profits to build an affordable car. At the same time, he worked hard with SpaceX, who to date had not been able to achieve the goal of making their rocket work properly. With the destruction of 3 rockets, they reached the limit of losses that the company could stand. Many experts in the field said that it would never achieve it, and others simply opposed it being successful. Thanks to a loan from its friend, Peter, uncle and co-founding partner of PayPal, gives his last effort, trying to make the Falcon or not will work with last breath. Yes. Really? Fear, and it goes further, is that you can take the step and be part of those who fight to leave a better world. If so, subscribe to this channel if you have not done so, and activate the bell, because only then will YouTube notify you when the next video is uploaded, and we will Jamaica Water You Take Units the song.